Hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are back tonight, playing some more Swords of the Serpentine, and it could be over in 15 minutes. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. It depends on how much they want to rescue Bella or Beppy. I can't remember. One of the two.
Both.
Well, I think you have one. I think you rescued one. I think it's the second one that's on the island right now. That you have to decide how much do you really like your family sigil? How much?
A lot.
Not my family sigil.
Well,
I'm a Ruska by birth.
All of them stem back. You are part of the family. I'm not going to let you do that. You are part of the family. Everyone stems from a shared line.
I thought I had a loophole. Son of a bitch.
You're just not as invested. That's all. Like how much are like? Because we're gonna start our own family with beer and hookers. This would be great. Isn't that how that works? Isn't that the phrase? All right, let's dive right in because I'm very excited. Last time around, we were in the undervaults of the main wall in Manor, your family's ancestral estate here in Eversink. You had been following some intruders that you had discovered. Who had poisoned some of the foxes in your kennel, had dragged something had broke over the walls of your estate, had dragged something, and then broke through the floor of a pavilion on your grounds and found a secret stair. So you've been following them. So last time around, we started with Chauncey kind of stumbling down. You were in this chamber that had all these different mosaics. It had some kind of historical glimpses at some aspects of the main wall and family. Arkadiy, I think, received a prophetic vision that kind of pointed him to a secret door. A series of tiles that had to be pressed in a particular order kind of revealed this opening. There was some enchanted tripwire that I think Vincent and Solavita were able to kind of take care of, but also it hinted at like something with like if someone would have bumped into it, it could have caused some kind of enchantment to fall on them. And then when you went further down into these vaults, and this is like your third deep level down, and so you are below the water level of Eversink, far below. You found a series of prison cells. For all intents and purposes, lots of decay. Vincent was able to detect some corruption, like this place had been corrupted, and led you all to a chamber where you saw these masks of drooping skin that were hanging on the walls, all kind of staring down at this sacrificial altar of some kind. Chauncey, in his ridiculous luck, as he was just leaning against the wall, trying to catch his breath after seeing this nastiness, just knocked the wall down, and it revealed this shortcut to where the intruders that you had discovered were hauling stuff from a previously warded office, ledgers and papers and logs and that kind of stuff. You also discovered the missing funerary bust of Castellar Mainwallen that was perched outside the door. Arkadiy got in really fast and quietly and neutralized their sorcerer. They had a sorcerer with them, and then allowed the rest of you to basically overwhelm the enemies, the rest of them. Arkadiy got a little injured at one point, but otherwise everyone's kind of in good condition. The intruders started to flee in different directions, some of which were carrying some of these ledgers that they had stolen. Chauncey, Solavita, Vincent, you chased one, while Arkadiy, you pursued the other. Arkadiy, you were able to get yours and just kill him pretty quick. The rest of you, as you were running, you got caught on like a collapsed rafter. Solavita, you got slowed by the very tripwire that Arkadiy had, I think, reset as you guys came down. But you did manage to animate a pedestal in the floor above, which hindered and attacked the fleeing footpad and caused them to drop some more of their papers. They probably still got away with some things, but not nearly as much as they would have otherwise. Eventually, you all started to come back to that warded office. You heard a fox yipping, as you know that Bella and Beppa are still missing. And so you found this break in the foundation of the prison, and you started to descend again on more like kind of cave-like steps as opposed to mason steps. And you discovered this domed chamber with like swamp water like risen up to your waist or shoulders, these small little islands that were kind of spaced around. And on one of them was this gnarled tree and this statue that kind of matched one of the mosaics that you saw a few levels above of a woman, relatively heavy set, kind of squatting down and reaching out towards the water line. And you also found one of the other intruders was here. kind of trapped on one of the islands. One of your missing foxes were here. You managed to, I think it was Vincent, managed to grab one out of the water. Chauncey, you looked like you were going to go after the other that was on the central island, but you kind of stumbled into the water itself. The water then started to stir elsewhere, and these fox-like heads just started to bloop, 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 just pop up all around. But they weren't just foxes. They didn't have that cute, beautiful fur. Instead, it was all these like scales and necks and weird looking eyes. And they continued to kind of rise up in terms of number and then in height. And as they did, you noticed that they were connected to these long serpent-like necks, and they all kind of converged at this mass, this Hydra-like figure of some kind. And that's where we last started. So I think we're going to pick up right there. So let me get a little music going. So in the scene, in this chamber, again, we'll call it like level 4, so to speak. Okay, Chauncey, you have just been dragged out of the water by Vincent, along with one of the foxes. Solavita, you're standing behind them. You specifically said you weren't going to go into the water, so you're back by the entrance to this chamber. On one of the islands across the way, you can see poor we'll say Bella. Say poor Bella on the water out there, or on the island out there, all by herself, yipping and barking. And then you see on a neighboring island, one of those intruders is there, and that's what we see. The heads have emerged from the water. Likely there have been some sounds that have been cascading up those stairs and back towards where Fortuna and Arkadiy have bound some prisoners. What that actually sounds like might not be, you might not know for sure. Oh, did you hear that? That sounds like Chauncey discovered some weird Hydra, and that doesn't sound, it's not that perfect. You just know something's amiss, essentially. Okay, so right now, those of you in the chamber, you see this massive creature is beginning to like kind of shift and sort of lumber across the water. It's so big, like part of its base is emerging from the water itself, and you can see the long sinewy necks are very long. They got to be at least like 15, 20 feet in length, and they're weaving down. One of them is like weaving down and kind of zooming in on that man sitting, and the other one is like sort of approaching Bella on the island across, and a few seem very, very interested and are kind of weaving through the water in the direction of Chauncey. I'm gonna turn it over to 3 of you. We're gonna be in initiative. Doesn't mean we're doing combat, but I just want to like keep some structure. So what are the 3 of you doing?
Chauncey, Solavita. Every fiber is telling me to run, but it's quite hypnotizing to see.
Oh, no, it's not. Chauncey, get out of the fucking water! You're muted!
We can't hear you.
He's gone under.
Sorry, there's something stuck in my throat. I was coughing up this horrible swamp water. Jesus. Great and majestic creature. Thank you for welcoming us into your home. Look, we brought you tribute. Look at this man kneeling at the water. Eat him. Take his blood and understand that we gave it to you because we love you.
Okay. It sounds like you're gonna make a sway test here. It sounds like you're making a sway test here. Is that fair? Is that what you're doing? Okay, so make your check. Are you spending any points to get a bonus on the roll?
I will. I feel like it's a game. I'm gonna put 2 into it. Like he's like, yeah, we'll try.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
If Foundry's being a little stubborn, I'm trying to click it. I don't know if it did or not.
I don't have it up either. On a different page. Let's see it. I don't see it either. You can just roll a d6 if you've got a d6 on you, or just.
I'll give it one more try.
Okay. There
One
you
more
go.
try was worth it.
All right, that is an
Nice.
8 on the die. It is not enough to get a critical on this, as that it has a threshold of 4. So this is instead. This is still a success, though. And so I'll say, as a few of the things that are like weaving through the water, like moccasins, just kind of coming at you. And as you call out to them, they just sort of stop at that point. And like one of them lifts their head off the water and kind of tilts it in your direction. The other one kind of just dips beneath the water and then comes back up again. And for whatever reason, they seem to have momentarily halted their movement towards you all. So I'll say that. Okay. we're gonna do the popcorn stuff. So Chauncey, who do you want to go next?
Since Vincent was the one initially pulling me out of the water, I'll pass it to him in the hopes that he will drag my cowardly ass further away.
Okay. Well, Vincent, what would you like to do?
I'll bring him up on his feet. There's still poor Bella out on the islands. Shall we go after her?
I don't think that's a wise decision right now. We do have a lot of foxes that we're trying to, get back to hell, but there's a good number still.
I'll pull towards the exit and observe what this creature does after Chauncey's little sway.
Okay. So you're just backing away. You're pulling Chauncey with you. Okay. I'm not going to say a test is required for that. It doesn't. I mean, like, you're just going to drag him, and he's not fighting you, I presume. So I don't think there's any real reason to make a test here. As I'll say this, as you do so, again, the Hydra creature has certainly paused and is considering as like, you're not sure if it understood what Chauncey said, but at least the voice or the gesticulation somehow gave it pause. Like, there is a moment. You do, however, watch a second one of those heads has begun to sort of veer in the direction of the man that is at this point now aware of what's going on and is slowly starting to back away from these two heads that are kind of converging on it. And I should say, like, the heads are so long, like these necks are so long, it's very easy. Like, they cover so much ground, like not the entirety of the chamber, but a good section of that chamber. So Vincent, is there anything else you wanted to do before we pass it on?
Yeah, if you allow me another action, I might even, like, sorcery, use some binding towards Bella, maybe collect her that way.
Okay, well, describe what you think you're doing here. I like this. What's describe how it works and what do you think you're trying to accomplish here?
Yeah, I'll make an attack. Maybe even spend corruption to get a unique ability from it to elongate my chains along the water. It grabs Bella and pulls her in.
You're gonna you're gonna throw the chains and be like, "Get over here," and just kind of try to pull her towards you. Is that what it is? Okay. I love this. Okay, so you're going to spend corruption, you said, to get the effect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so let's dig into our corruption spend notes again. So I think whenever you use corruption, whenever you're making a corruption spend, you have to do something with that corruption. You either have to internalize it, or you have to kind of push it out onto the area. So let's go ahead and do that. What's your choice?
Internalize it.
Okay. So if you're internalizing it, go ahead and make an immediate health test with a difficulty of 3 plus the number of corruption points you're planning on spending. And I would say, like, you're just trying to get a small fox that's maybe 25 feet away and yip it over towards you. I don't think you need to really spend more than 1 corruption here. Okay. So it's a health test, difficulty of 4.
I got a 2.
Okay.
Not good.
It's fine. It's okay. Failure on this case means that as you're internalizing the corruption itself, maybe it's this place. You were just in a chamber not too long ago that was soaked in the residue of corruption from generations past, and more than likely this place is also dripping in it. So maybe there's just more in the ambiance that is getting to you. So what this means is you have to note a change on you that is noticeable to an observer, and usually the corruption is somehow connected to how you learn that sorcery. So how did Vincent learn his sorcery? We know that Solavita's got some Serpentine type stuff, but what about Vincent?
Yeah, it's been through a lot of ghosts and spirits that speak to me when I was locked away in the dungeons.
I love it. Okay, so what do you think happens? What happens to you? Like, what's the manifestation here?
There's one of my fingers goes a bit cold. It's not like body temperature. It gets colder.
Okay.
I guess it's more of a physical instead of you can't really see it.
It's got to be something noticeable since you failed. Something noticeable to an observer.
My fingernails grow darker.
Okay. Like they...
Discoloration.
Okay. Maybe like
one of them.
So maybe since you're talking about like coldness, maybe they turn like some kind of icy blue or something. Like it almost looks like you have like a frostbitten fingertip of some kind. Okay, so you tap in to your sorcery. You launch out one of your change. Give me a sorcery test to see if you're able to kind of target her and yip her back. And you can spend sorcery points to boost your roll if you want to here.
Yeah, I'll spend one.
Okay. I'm just going to treat this like I'm just going to look at her health threshold because you target health, right? Or do you target morale?
I do morale.
Okay. Actually, they probably be the same. She's a tiny little fox. I would say target of 3. Okay. All right. So describe what it looks like then as this works. This actually works. There's a little bit of a feedback glitch that comes onto your finger, but otherwise this works. So describe what it looks like, Vincent.
Yeah, I chains around my hands. I twirl it about my head, toss across the water. It doesn't go all the way, but it starts slithering towards her and lashes onto her mane and escorts her across the little pond.
Okay. And you hear just like, yip, 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 yip. And as you kind of pull her across the water, you notice that one of these like hydra heads like gets down into the water and starts to slither and kind of follow it, and is like seems very curious and is occasionally just like nipping at the tail in the paws of the fox as you pull it. Doesn't outright just grab it, but it seems more curious at this point about what the hell is going on. Okay, but you've nonetheless brought Bella. So now you have both foxes. Vincent, who do you want to give this to? You have Solavita, you have Fortuna and Arkadiy who are elsewhere, but they could still rush down here. Or you can give it to the Hydra.
Wonder how many moves it gets though. I'll give it to Arkadiy. See what he does.
Okay, Arkadiy. You hear the sounds first of yipping, but then you hear like some. I mean, maybe it's Vincent's sorcery. Something about the sound of Vincent's sorcery begins to echo, and you hear the sounds of like maybe one of them shouted out something in alarm, and so you know something's up. So what does Arkadiy do in this situation?
Dear Fortuna, did not hear the sound of Vincent's chains. They must be in some sort of kerfuffle. We cannot afford to allow these prisoners to leave. Do you want me to go try to help them?
Yes, of course, sir. Wanting to make sure that we rescue the foxes, and your help would be much needed, I'm sure.
If either one of these men stir, make sure to break the elbows. I've already broken their feet and their knees, so they cannot walk out, but we do not want them to crawl either. And then he runs off, trying to track where these 3 went to.
Okay. I would say that you're able, like at this point, there's a lot of sounds that are starting to emanate from this wing of the prison. And as you're searching, you do notice that there is like a rupture in the foundation. And that seems to be where everything is kind of cascading up. I would say, like in the terms of trying to get into the fight, you would probably be spending almost your entire turn just racing to get into it. Mm-hmm. But as you kind of clamber down these carved in the rock face of some kind of cliff or limestone, right? You see in front of you everything that they've been seeing. You watch as Vincent's chains pull this fox to safety. You see this massive creature that is sprawled across almost the entirety of it, and it seems to be part reptilian, part fox-like, and it's a bizarre scene, and it's probably a deranged looking one at the same time. Do you say anything when you arrive?
Oh yeah, he comes up behind Solavita. He's like, "Oh, dear cousins, I believe it's probably in our best interest to leave at this point. You have once again managed to find yourselves in troubles greater than any 1 or 5 of us could handle. So
this is not my fault. This is not my fault. I did not do this time. It was not me."
Of course not, dear Solavita. But that's it. He's just prepared to withdraw with them and help and cover their withdrawal if necessary.
Okay, so then do you want to give this to Solavita? Do you want to give this to Fortuna? Or do you want to give it to any of the adversaries that are in play?
I want to give it to the Hydra. I don't want it to go. I don't want it to go multiple times in a row.
Right. That's fair. I think that's definitely fair. All right, so the Hydra has been very curious and has been trying to suss out these intruders into some kind, whatever its den, whatever this might be. And at a certain point, seeing the sorcery of Vincent, it decides to finally take action. I am going to spend 6 of its very large pool of malice to enact an ability called Universal Attack. So this is basically through blazing speed or an area of effect, I can attack everyone they want within range during one round, and I make a separate attack for each target. It's going to attack everyone in its lair. So Fortuna, you're the only one. You and the bound people are not affected.
I thought we were friends.
I'm going to flavor this obviously as like the different Hydra heads are attacking each of you. So that's kind of how I'm flavoring it. So let's do this. So I'm going to start
over there.
Well, don't worry. 2 of them are going to very much attack this man who's slowly backing away. Good doggy. And he's like holding up a hand and trying to like sneak another hand behind and maybe grab like a dagger that he has in the back of his belt. And right as he goes for it and pulls it out, both of them just pin down on him. And he's going to get attacked by basically 2 of these heads, essentially, is how I'm going to flavor it. So it's going to track its malice here really fast. Okay. So the bite on the guy is going to be a total of a 8. So this is not a crit, but it is enough to essentially crunch down on him, rip him up into the air, and as the first head pulls him up in the air, the second one scoops underneath and grabs the leg, and you just see them kind of tugging and pulling him, and you hear like his pain screams that get muffled as the head of one crunches down over top of the other. So that's the first attack. Second attack is going to be on Vincent, who has cast this spell, and it's going to snap out at you. Like one of the ones that were slithering in the water, like a crocodile or alligator that's been just slowly sifting towards you. It's just going to leap out and it's going to try and snap and pull you in. It's going to spend something for a bonus. Okay, so I get a +2 on this attack. Okay. This is going to be a total of a 6, Vincent, which is probably just a regular attack on you, I think.
Yeah, I have 4 threshold.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to figure since you guys were running, I'm going to try to get a few things out just for fun.
You don't need to.
I feel compelled to just show people what this game's all about because it's really fun, you know?
Absolutely.
I think that's fair. That's fair.
How else will we know?
How else will we know? Never to fight a fox hydra.
Fox.
Okay. Wonder if I can. I'm gonna use its fearsome blow ability, I think. Yeah, why not? Let's do that. So the fearsome blow, basically what this is, Vincent. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's a separate action. I can't use it. Never mind.
Thank God, that sounded terrible.
It did sound terrible, didn't it? I was like, oh man.
Basically, that would eat away. It would eat away at both your morale and your health instead of just one. Okay, so instead, I'll just use its extra damage ability. Okay. So you're going to take next 2 dice. Sorry, 6 plus 2. You are going to take 9 points of damage, Vincent.
Eek.
Whoa.
That definitely hurt. It dropped me to -4.
Okay, do you have any armor first to mitigate any of that? Okay. All right, so if you're in the negative, I think we did this last week for Arkadiy at one point. So once you get into the negative, you have to make a test. So you immediately make a difficulty 4 health test to stay conscious.
Okay.
And yeah, because I think Arkadiy right now, you are, I think, hurt. Is that correct?
No, because I got healed. So I've got,
oh, that's right.
I've got
Sola
3
Vita
health
heals
right
you.
now.
Okay, so
Yep.
you don't have that hurt penalty. All right,
God.
Vincent.
I'll spend
You're
1
welcome.
health. Can I do that? Spend 1 health to.
I don't think you can spend. Actually, yeah, you can. I think you can actually. It is, yeah, because I remember reading that it's a kind of a push your luck risky mechanic. You can spend health to get a bonus on the roll, but that might risk moving you through the next tier. So
Yeah, I'll still be in
you
the
can.
second tier from doing it. So I'll
Okay.
go try it anyways.
yeah, give it a go, man.
Oh, I got a 7.
Crushed it.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
So I
You
stay awake
remain
after
conscious.
being snipped.
Nice.
Okay. You remain conscious, so you're awake. However, your difficulties of all general ability tests are going to be increased by 1 while you're in this like -1 to -5 range. So once you get healed back to 0, you're fine. But for now, you're currently bleeding. Okay, the next one is going to go against Chauncey, as it's going to. Okay, as it's going to, one of its heads is going to come up and get right close to you, and you see its mouth just kind of opens. Think of like the alien scene, right, where the xenomorph's mouth just opens, and you see dripping from these huge fangs. You just see like venom dripping, and as it's standing as it's just like staring at you with these eyes, you just hear it like right in your face, and it's going to snap at you. Okay.
It sounded
I'm
so
gonna-
cute there for a second.
I just wanted to use like all of its abilities, so I'm gonna try to use its venom
Totally.
ability. So you get venom, Chauncey.
Totally.
He
Chauncey, that's
feebly
gonna
tries to yip back just before it bites him, hoping that will stop it.
6 to hit. So
Oh,
just
yes,
a regular
6
hit.
hits.
6 is a regular hit. So you are going to take. Let's see, damage wise, not that bad. You're only going to take 4 points of damage. Not a good roll. But I am going to tap into its venom ability. And so as it bites you, it's going to get an opportunity to sort of put that venom into you. Venom is just like different types of poisons and things like that. And so this one specifically, as it sinks into you, you're able to tear away really quickly, but maybe it was something about the eyes, maybe it was something about the venom, whatever it might be. There's this kind of bit of a daze, or maybe a sense of vertigo, or you just kind of feel elsewhere for a moment as you are going to be affected by this. This is a difficulties are going to be increased by +2 for your tests.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
This is just a little love bite. It's fine. I love you too.
And then finally, Sola Vita. Okay. I think for Sola Vita, I'm going to use a different one of its abilities. I'm going to use a sway attack on this one.
You don't have to.
And it's going to try to basically terrify you as two more of the heads begin to enclose on you in the same way it did the man that it's now tearing apart. And they just start like yip and cackling like right to this side, to that side, snapping in front of you, snapping behind. So I'm going to make a sway attack this time. Mark some malice. Okay, that is a 7. What's your morale threshold?
It is 4, so that does
Okay.
hit.
Okay, 4 does hit. And then you're going to take, in terms of morale, I'm not going to like tap into its AoE. That seems silly because it's a universal attack. You're going to take 7 points of morale damage.
Well, I'm still up.
Okay. All right.
That's fine.
And do you have any grit? I think you should have at least 1 grit from
I
having
do
your
have
items.
1.
So
Yeah.
remember
Reduces
that.
by 1.
Yeah, that'll reduce it by 1. Okay. That is its turn.
I hate to
Yeah.
point this out, but am I in range? Is Arkadiy in range?
Oh, thank you, Aaron.
You are standing
you're a
behind
gentleman and a
me
scholar.
in your RP.
Yeah, one of them is gonna attack you.
I'm going to spend my last investigative point to give myself +3 to my threshold.
Okay. All right. I'm going to do my same combo of malice spins. And I think this one's maybe Arkadiy, you didn't notice you're a very vigilant man, but there's a lot going on in here. One of them was sneaking up on the water, and as you close in on Solavita and you're paying so much attention, maybe swatting the two that are trying to terrify her. One of them is going to attempt to knock you back into the water. So I'm going to use its coils, essentially. So I'm going to give that a go.
That's
I
bad.
do not want to swim today. No, thank you.
That is an 8.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is an 8 to hit.
My threshold went up to 7.
I'm sorry. I rolled a 5 and I have a +3, so that's an 8. So basically, I get to do either control movement or I can do health damage. Okay, so essentially, you're knocked back. This is a maneuver, so I think actually you could take damage instead. Let me go back to this really fast. Sorry for this is like the first time we're doing it, so let's get it right. Okay, so technically this is a maneuver, and so the way a maneuver works is that you roll the attack as usual. If successful, the attack sets the difficulty. Then the target, so in this case Arkadiy, has to either accept the effect of the maneuver, which is getting knocked into the water, or you have to suffer the damage equal to the difficulty -2. So you're either knocked into the water or you take 6 damage.
I'll take the 6 damage. It'll take me to -3. I'll be hurt again.
And do you have dodge? Do you have the dodge talent?
No, I do not.
Okay, just want to make sure. Okay, so you're hurt again. So go ahead and make that that health roll to stay conscious, as you are battered up against the side and you nearly stumble. Like you hop over top. Let's see how you do. And
nope, I'm unconscious.
so as Arkadiy is swatting away, one of these just kind of side swipes him. And although like you catch it at the last second and you're able to brace yourself and re-angle so you don't get knocked into the water, maybe you're thrown backwards instead of forwards and you just like bang your head against the rear wall and you kind of collapse. And all of you just see Arkadiy goes down and doesn't get back up immediately. Okay. So I get to choose who goes next. I'm going to choose the sorcerer. And Melissa says I have like 47 complications because we have great, wonderful, generous audience. Fortuna, you watch Arkadiy run, and you see right as he turns the corner and he's no longer there, all of a sudden the eyes of the sorcerer flick open, and you see he is looking up at you, and he is trying to like kind of scramble and kind of get out of his bindings, and he starts to whisper something. And I think I'm going to go ahead and say he's going to attempt a little spell casting. I can't do this very often, but I'm gonna do it once.
All right,
okay. He does not have nearly as much malice to spend as this other creature does, but I'm gonna spend it because he's not long for this world either. So
okay.
I'm gonna go 3 to trigger his spell casting ability, and then 2 for a bonus on the roll. So he's going to attempt a sorcery ability on you. And he starts talking, and whatever mantra he's going through is getting louder and louder. At first you don't recognize the tongue, but slowly it starts to blend into words that you know. It just seems like he's saying things. Okay. That is going to be a 6 to hit. This is targeting your morale.
Yeah, my morale threshold is 4.
As you look at him and you see what first is some deranged kind of scripture that he seems to be reading through. Maybe it's something you've heard Solavita or Vincent do. His voice changes and you hear your own coming from him. And even though his face hasn't changed, even though his demeanor hasn't changed, you hear your voice, you hear your speech. And he is describing and talking about a very kind of a secret, some sort of traumatic secret, or some kind of something terrible, Fortuna, something that you try not to think about in your life. He's trudging up a terrible memory, and that's what's affecting you. So what memory do you think he's describing, Fortuna?
I would say he's describing a time when Fortuna was younger and was trying to like pass. I'm thinking that there's some sort of like presentation or something that you have to do with the Guild of Architects and Canal Watchers. And so like the reason why she's a little bit older in years but has not progressed in that is because she like failed at her first attempt to like put together some type of project or proposal or something, and it went terribly wrong, and it's sort of that stuff of nightmares kind of getting up in front of people and just being a blathering idiot. And there was a very scathing like report back to the family that she would never have a future in the Guild of Architects and Canal Watchers. And so just this letter is sort of burned in her memory.
And so you hear your presentation from his voice. And then when one of like the senior architects goes to speak and mock you or ask you a question, you hear the voice from your right and you look over and you can see the still kind of bound canal, like kind of there's this sort of footpad, right? His voice is now moving and it sounds exactly like the man who harassed you and mocked you for your poor presentation. And so this is going to result in a total of 4 morale damage to you. And remember, you should have grit, so you should be able to reduce that by 1.
Grit. So it will be so 3 morale damage.
3 total. And then you see him trying to like, you can see he's trying to mess with his binding, still kind of directing at you. And I'm gonna give it to you.
No. Shut up, both of you. Shut up. Shut up. And so she is because he was speaking this. And so she is going to, because he's still bound.
He is, yeah.
And so she wants to attempt to basically just shove something in his mouth so that he can't speak.
Okay.
So she's gonna,
fantastic.
Some piece of cloth or handkerchief or something that she's just going to, kind of go up and just shove in his face.
I like it. All right. So you can treat this just like a maneuver, like we just said. Like it's kind of the same deal if you just want to mute him. So you would roll an attack like normal. I would say warfare probably makes the most sense. Your total sets the difficulty, and then he can either choose to accept it or take the damage. Either way, it's going to be rough for him. So as long as you pass, you're probably fine.
Okay. Can I? I've got preparedness, and I haven't done things with my preparedness. I want to see if I can get something to give me a little bit of a plus on this. Can we say with preparedness that I have like a small piece of like rope or something that I can try to tie this handkerchief that I kind of
I mean, you're asking for something so mundane. I wouldn't even say you need a roll for that or anything. Like you could just, I have no problem saying you have cloth on you, or that's fine. Yeah. So
all right.
Really just,
I don't have anything for warfare, so it's just a straight roll.
Well, it's worse than that, actually. I think you actually take a penalty when you have it at 0. If you don't have any, I think it's actually a negative.
Shoot.
I remember reading this. Hang on. I believe it's like I believe you take a penalty to it. It's not a big penalty. I think it's just like a -1 for using an investigative ability without it, like certain ones anyway. Because certain investigative abilities, actually no, this is a general ability. What am I talking about? You're doing
it's a general ability, so rank 0, unless you're attacking, you may not roll the die to attempt unless the GM allows. So because I'm attacking, I can do it with a rank 0. Okay.
And you could always spend an investigative point to get a +3 to the roll if you wanted to make sure it happens.
Would I need a relevant investigative point?
You just have to describe the relevance. Just why do you think this helps you?
Okay. What do I have? Can I spend a point of vigilance
Sure.
to say that I'm
of course.
prepared?
I think so.
Is that-
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think it
All right, so
applies
that's-
perfectly in this. As you see him trying to scoot away, you see him maybe even trying to like get his hands behind by like a shard of debris that he's trying to like cut through the bindings or something like that. And
Okay.
this gives you the perfect
then-
opportunity.
So this is going to be a warfare, and then I need to add 3 to the result
Mhm.
that'll show.
Yeah, you're gonna pass no matter what. It's just you could crit. And I guess
I rolled a
that's,
1, so that'll give me a
4
4.
is still enough. So it does set to so the difficulty is set to 4. So the way maneuvers work, like I was just saying, he either has to take the effect, which was to essentially make him shut up, like you stuff it and he can't talk anymore, or he has to take damage equal to the roll, the difficulty, which is 4 minus 2. So in this case, I'm gonna say he's gonna take the damage as you like jam this into him. Maybe you hear a crack as you break some of his teeth, and you see like a little spurt of blood as maybe your own anger, maybe some of the memory is causing
Oh, for sure.
that to be a little bit more. But as you do, you just and then suddenly his eyes just kind of roll back a bit, and you think you've put him out again. Whether he's dead or not, who knows? But you certainly put him out, and he's no longer speaking.
Okay.
Anything else you want to do?
I feel like I moved over to him and kind of did that, so I think that fits for my
Okay.
action.
And is Sola Vita, you still have to go? Am I remembering that correctly, or have you already gone?
I have not gone. I've just
All right,
been
so-
attacked.
I think Sola Vita
That's
is the
all.
only one left to go.
Solavita is going to look behind her at Arkadiy splayed out with
Mhm.
kind of like these serpentine foxes above. Oh, this is not good. And she's going to attempt to pick Arkadiy up
Okay.
and move.
I'll say this. I think you can pick him up no problem.
Okay.
But I will say if you want to pick him up and carry him or drag him up those steps and out of the room,
Yeah.
if you want to do this all like in one turn and just get the hell out of danger, give me an athletics test.
Oh, I used all
Does that
my
sound
athletics
fair?
points before,
Yeah.
but sure. Let's see here.
If you succeed in this, I'll say the two of you get him up and you manage to retreat back up through that fracture in the floor.
Well, I'm leaving. I do want to, if this is sort of like too much action, yell at the statue on the lake, because one of the statuary sort of passives is that I can talk to them.
Mhm.
What is your name? And I'm just wanting to yell that as I try to drag Arkadiy. Let's see how successfully up and through, up and up over the stairs. There you go, Aaron. We're gonna survive.
As you yell out to the statue, there's nothing immediately, but then as you cross the threshold of that chamber, you hear a voice, this like wet, old, like phlegmy voice, a woman's voice suddenly echo in your ears, and as it does so, like the whole chamber starts to shake. The rest of you can't hear it, only Solavita, but you hear Borda, and like everything starts to shake. Borda, B-O-R-D-A. It's then you get to pick who goes next as we starting a new round. You've got Arkadiy out of here. Chauncey and Vincent are still back behind.
Can I choose myself?
You absolutely can.
Cool. I'm going to choose myself and do a bind wounds on Aaron. I don't think I can bring up because I don't have any leech points left. Aaron, you're at -3 or -4 right now?
-3.
I could get him to 0. Would that bring him up?
That would bring him up. You just got to get him out of the negative.
Okay, I'm gonna spend all 3. There we go, and I'm going to bind his wounds and continue to drag him out down the hallway a little bit, like probably not, like just a little bit more, and then bind his wounds.
Just a little bit further away, and then you you let him down, and you start binding wounds.
Not in
slap his
AoE
face a little bit.
range.
Yeah, just like wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Slap him, and then Arkadiy, like your eyes will pop open, and you're at 0. Okay.
And then we will pass to Vincent or Chauncey, who are inside. We'll do Chauncey next.
All right, Chauncey.
Chauncey's in a pretty bad spot.
A little woozy. What do you do?
I joked about it earlier, but I may actually do it. I may actually use one of my investigative abilities. Because this thing is clearly like very kind of curious and kind of investigating things. So he just wants to tap into the fact that it's maybe curious. And maybe if he can just sate its curiosity, music soothes the savage beast. Maybe spin a point of charm. And kind of dip into his commoner background and do some sort of like the equivalent of a sea shanty about a serpent or something like that. And just, dip into his drunken shanty, but doing it in a rhythmic way that hopefully will kind of distract it enough to like get away and hopefully just leave it chilled.
Okay. So you spend your investigative ability point to do this. Okay. Okay. So you start singing a shanty about serpents.
Like a sea serpent shanty or something like that.
I'm sure there's plenty of those in Eversink. Absolutely. And so as it's going in for a second bite on you, you start to sing and it just stops. And then its head tilts like the way a curious dog's would, just kind of tilts to the side and then it tilts again. And then you see it just kind of begin to sort of sway a little bit to the beat. You see a second one slither up over your shoulder that you didn't even realize was behind you. It was probably the one that knocked Arkadiy down and slithers up over behind you. And you just feel it against your ear. And it kind of wiggles out in front of you. And both of them are just sort of almost entranced momentarily speaking. But at the same time, you do hear as you look behind them and you see the man has been ripped in two on the island, viscera flying everywhere. You have a temporary reprieve, you would think.
Yeah, and basically I want to get out, but I just, it's so nice. Thank you for inviting me over.
Okay.
Second verse, same as the first.
Do you back away a bit?
Tea party.
Is this what you're saying as you slowly back up the stairs, singing?
And then I'll start another verse.
Okay, who do you want to go next?
Vincent.
Okay, and I'm assuming you're picking up maybe one of the foxes?
Yeah, like I think he had one fox, I have the other.
I think so.
Kind of like, part of the reason I'm doing that is, I guess I'll try and save the fox too. Just like creating an opening to just go.
I like it. Okay. So Vincent, what would you like to do?
Tactical retreat right behind him, right next to him.
Okay.
We're out of here.
All right. So I'll say with Chauncey managing to temporarily confuse and sorcel almost them, the two of you are able to retreat out of this room. No roll necessary, no athletics roll. You get out. They don't snap at you as you wander away. And all of you now are up in the hall. You can see Arkadiy's coming to. Solovita's lending aid. Fortuna's down the hall and around the corner. You don't hear it moving or anything like that. You don't hear it coming up after you. Again, it's just like this rupture in the floor. It doesn't look like it's not even a door. It's literally just a rupture in the floor. So I'll say I'll break initiative unless anyone's running back down. Okay. So let's break initiative and I'll ask you, what are you doing?
Is Fortuna up here? Did you leave her?
She's forgive me, I'm feeling a little woozy. Thank you so much, Solovita. Once again, you're a lifesaver.
Yes, do be careful. The blood is not quite stopped yet. Don't move so much.
Yes, I am not unused to having horrible, almost mortal wounds, but you're quite the healer.
This is like the second time today?
Second time today, yes. Not my record for a single day, but it's getting close. Fortuna's back around the corner with the prisoners, so we should perhaps go, and we need to make sure we interrogate them thoroughly before, bad things happen to them.
Well, we also have all these books to read.
Indeed. That is not my forte.
Well, You're better at it than our uncle.
He's true.
He's everyone's uncle. What a weird tree.
As you come around the corner,
that's what I call him.
You just see Solovita or Fortuna, who's just shoving something into, and she's like, "I am good enough. I am good enough. No, and she's just a little lost in that. And that's what you see when you come around the corner.
Is he dead?
What?
I'll say you guys took him prisoner. I'm not going to say you killed him, but he is definitely unconscious and he's missing many of his teeth at this point. Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh,
You
no.
did good, Fortuna. Yes, he did not need all those teeth.
Oh, and she kind of snaps out of it a little bit. He was doing, and she sort of gestures to Solavita and Vincent. He was doing one of your things, and I needed to make sure that he stopped talking, and he made that one talk too. He won't be talking for a little bit. And then she sort of just like pats the guy on the side of the head.
A little bit of blood spurts out from where you like tap him on the side.
Well, all right. So we have a few issues now. One, how do we hide this from the church inspectors tomorrow morning? And two, we lost a few books, but we also have a lot of reading to do. And I need to talk to a great grandpa uncle over there. And other things I forgot.
What
Well, I think
happened
this,
down there?
Also, our family
Scare.
owns fox snakes. Big Hydra fox snakes in the water.
Is
So many secrets. So very many secrets.
Do you know Borda? Does anybody know Borda? Borda is the name of the statue in the water. The lady that feeds the foxes that have been touched by snakes.
If anybody would like to do a forgotten lore spend, I think it's called. What's it called? Forgotten lore spend. I can give you some information.
I'll spend one.
I have run out of forgotten lore, so I cannot help.
Okay. So the name Borda Fortuna, it takes a moment as maybe you're sort of calming down from the insults that this individual has had hurled at you, and maybe the first time that Solavita says it doesn't click, but then you remember something about your younger years. I would say, are you like a follower? Like, are you like a devout follower? Do you go to church? Or are you just like are you a practicing Denari worshiper? You think? Do you go to
sure.
temple and stuff? Okay,
Sure.
I would say that maybe your Sunday school, not what was actually on the curriculum, but maybe what the kids used to talk about on the side. A story told by a nun or a priest or something like that. Borda was Denari's sister, and she was called the Matron of the Swamps. It's not a figure that is outwardly recognized by the church, nor is it one that you see in any kind of obvious worship across the city, but the Matron of the Swamps.
No, Barda. I don't remember a Barda. No, Barda. That's So, Levita, are you saying that we have the statue of Denari's sister in our secret, under the secret prison, under the secret entrance on our land?
Yes. Of course not. I'm sure her brother's a book somewhere on the island too. Wait, do they have brothers, or was it just sisters?
My. So.
Well, the other thing is that statue reminded me of the mural, so maybe we got more than just the statue of Borda.
Okay. Did we look through everything here we needed to look through now that we need to bring
No,
people
but we don't
back?
have time, so...
But you have two foxes. That is excellent news.
They are well, but I am not. My leg is profusely bleeding.
I can help you with that.
It bit me. I'm oozing here. It's kind of a purplish color.
I
Highly
would say
discolored.
your eyes are not quite the right color either.
I know I
Dilated.
smell
If
so many
everyone can
strange
form a
things right
queue,
now.
it will be about 8 hours in the waiting room before I can see each of you.
I can help with this.
So, do you all want to do the healing up and out of the crazy dangerous vaults, or do you want to do that here?
Here, because I want to talk to the statue.
Okay.
But also, we need to start moving these books out, and also need to plan how to hide this trapdoor.
I
I think the trapdoor will be easy.
Your
Mhm.
curiosity is admirable, but I do think safety is important. We should probably get everyone back.
Can I take the statue with me? How heavy does
Sure.
it look?
You have statuary. So,
But
here's what I would
getting
say,
them to
Sylvia.
move on themselves is a corruption,
Right,
and I'm
right,
out
right.
of corruption.
but there's something that you notice when you go to retrieve the stash, this bust. As you like many, like you said, like we said before, funerary statues are sort of like the tether, the representative of a soul that has passed on to like Denari's like heaven, essentially. And as long as that statue is in good condition, then they are likely fine. There's, I would say, there's probably some kind of like sorcerous sort of element, some energy that you can probably sense. Like anybody who is familiar with sorcery can sense when they move through the halls of a place where there's funerary statues. It's absent when you come and pick this up. Leads you to believe that something has, like whatever soul or spirit this was tethered to, it's been severed. So Castlear Mainwallen, your ancestor, your great-great-great-grandmother's dad, has been somehow severed. For you quickly look around and you can see there's no damage,
Uh-oh.
but they are.
Vincent, this is more your preview at this point. There are no spirit in this. We can leave it then. I don't, but probably.
Beard has wandered free. I mean, maybe it's still around. I'll give it. Try and search for it. Some
Okay.
spirit sight.
All right. When you do, you notice. Okay, so you're just gonna make a spend a spirit sight to see ghosts and sort of track them around.
I think I just have the ability by having points in it, unless you want me to
Okay.
spend.
I can't remember. Let me take a look. Can't remember if
Because
it
spending
actually
has like specific things to it.
Okay, so one of the things, if you actually start to pull back on the veil and start to look around, you notice that first of all, there are many spirits down here, most of which seem to be like in the cells, because you kind of pass by looking for them. And eventually you find a figure that matches somewhat the bust in that room with all the faces in the sacrificial chamber. And you see it's just sort of lingering limply over top of that sacrificial altar. You can see it not doing anything necessarily, but just kind of staring down, its head lifting off to the side. Modest height, average height, relatively slender, kind of a hook nose, but otherwise really an unremarkable looking person.
Are you Castlear?
And as you say the name, you see the head just turn and looks at you and then peers. Okay. And they say, I was. And then like you see them, like their eyes just kind of darting to all of the different faces that are hanging on the walls as if they're confused.
You've been dragged down, yeah? Do you know why?
I know this place. I built this place. He's kind of just like looking around.
Is something drawing you here?
He looks confused. I was summoned. My true name was invoked. And he like peers at you. But you have dealt with them. And he starts to like move very close to you now. You see him just like kind of step through the altar in your direction, and he's beginning to get very, very close. Uncomfortably so.
Oh, I think we dealt with them. Do you wish to stay here?
He stops. Yes. Yes.
And his yes like knocks me out of my spirit sight.
Okay. And then and you no longer see the illuminated figure in front of you.
He's here. Wishes to stay.
Okay.
What else did he say to you, dear Vincent?
Oh, our ancestor Castellar. He built this place.
Did he tell you for what purpose it was built? Why did he do this? Was it always a temple to Borg?
Let me go back in and ask him. No, I
Wait,
didn't ask him.
Also, does he know who these are?
One more
The
thing.
faces right here with the skin faces? Do we know the skin faces?
He pulls
know
a
he was-
Columbo with spirits like,
Just one more thing about the skin faces.
Oh, I know he was called here. I'm guessing by these sources they might know.
It's a good point. Perhaps we should question them. Well, question the sorcerer.
Well, I think that is going to be mostly you, Arkadiy, honestly. Or maybe Fortuna and Chauncey like to talk to people, but maybe not in that way.
I am prepared to stand by and provide violent and enthusiastic measures to help ensure that he is cooperative. However, usually others, they respond poorly to me because my sway is 0.
Yeah, me too. I don't get on with very many people.
Okay. Are we saying scene over down here? Or are we saying you all retreat back up?
I am going to collect all of the books and dropped materials
Of
that
course.
those guys were taking in, but otherwise,
course.
yes.
Okay. So you have the 2 prisoners. You've got all of these random books and ledgers and logs. You got some moons, etc. I assume that you're going to, as best you can, return these hidden passageways to the way in which you found them hidden. And so I'm fine to move on then. You get to the top of the estate. It's still very dark out. You've been in here for probably 2 hours, maybe, something like that. And it is still dark out. When it was the start of night when you descended. You know that it's deep into the night, probably midnight or past it at this point. And you're able to return the pavilion, the hidden paths, to, as best you can. There definitely looks as though there's been disturbance in the area around these stones, like these like kind of paving stones and such. But otherwise, it's not obvious. So as best you can, unless there's additional steps that you wanted to take.
I don't
Okay.
think so.
I am
Okay.
tempted to get one investigation back for corruption and move a statue on top of the trapdoor, but I'm okay not doing that.
Okay, so 2 things then. We're finishing the scene. We have 2 refresh tokens left. So if anyone wanted to use them, now's the time to use them for your general abilities.
So no, go for it. I was going to say, otherwise, I might grab some more bind wounds at this point.
I'm 6 of 6 spine wounds, so as long as we're all together, I can help with that. I am all out of sway though, so I wouldn't mind one sway if someone else has something they want the other one for.
It comes better in pairs.
Yeah, take it. Take them both.
Go for it.
And then the other thing I'm going to give you all, since you returned from the Under Vaults with all sorts of different things, and you survived your encounter with that creature, everyone can take an investigative spend refresh. So one investigative point anywhere you want it. You can go ahead and refresh it as you have.
Where you want.
It's got to be an ability you already have. But aside from that.
Oh, what do I want? I think I want my forgotten lore back. I think.
Okay.
I'm going to put a point of prophecy because it's the most.
It was very useful. Came in handy for sure.
Obviously, I hate having 0 and ridiculous luck. I need at least 1 point there.
Of course not.
Of course.
Long, what do you take
about
back?
you, Vincent?
Just forgotten lore back for me as well.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so then I'm going to say to you all, okay, so the scene there is done. Where do we pick up next? I'm going to say to you all, do we continue with everything tonight? Do you find a place to do your interrogations? What are we thinking?
I'll deliver the foxes back to Gustavo and join up for the investigation or interrogation.
I am swirling all of the written material into my corner of the library that no one goes to.
Okay, so we'll say...
And reading all night.
So Levita takes the material to the library. Does anyone go with her?
Is there a wine cellar anywhere close to that?
We can... well, you know what? Nobody goes to the library, so if you want to go and borrow a little bit of like a shelf of wine and bring it, we can drink and read all night.
I will do one of those things.
That's fair.
Okay. Chauncey will say you retrieve a cask of wine from the kitchens. It seems as though your servants out there, they have all gone to sleep for the night. And then you join Solavita in the library. And then Fortuna, Vincent, and Arkadiy are going to proceed with the interrogation of your prisoners. And we'll assume that you find a space on your estate away from prying ears and such. Okay.
Exactly.
Fair enough. All right.
I'll heal Arkadiy and Vincent as well.
Okay.
Because I think they are in need of some.
You are so kind. Thank you.
I think Chauncey might need a little bit too.
Fine.
You got the purple poison crap.
You know what's really funny? I dab a bit of it on my finger, and then I lick it, and I take a sip. And it's really it's mind-blowing.
So
let's manufacture this.
Let's start with the interrogation, because that's probably not going to take quite as long. If you're reading all night, there's so many logs and ledgers to go through it. No real organization. Everything's been spilled about, so you're probably spending a significant amount of time just sort of collating it in some way. But we'll say Arkadiy and Vincent and Fortuna, you find some empty wings, some dusty, old, unused storage room on the far side of the estate, away from where your matriarch and some of the higher echelons of your family sleep. And we see the three of you gathered around these two figures. Maybe you have them on stools, but they're still bound, still gagged. Walk me through what we do. How's this work?
So I believe Arkadiy would say, let me set the stage here quickly, and then we can ask questions. So he sets them on these two stools, facing one another, 3 feet apart from one another. Then he lays out a bunch of carpenter's nails and a mallet. And then he just gently caresses the cheeks of both of them. He's like, all right, my friends, wake. Now, we have many things to discuss here. I am not the one to do the talking, because my accent makes things difficult for people to understand. So, my dear cousins will be talking to you. You must answer their questions completely and honestly. I will promise you this. One of you will live as long as all questions are answered. However, if not answered, both die. Also, if answered poorly, I begin to nail parts of your body into stool until you decide to talk more honestly. Yes? All right. They're ready for you now, dear cousins.
Vincent and Fortuna. You notice no real reaction to the threat from the sorcerer, who seems a little deranged, to be honest. The other guy, though, his eyes are wide, and he's looking at the nails. He's looking at the man across from him. He's looking at Arkadiy, like as his eyes go wide. But the sorcerer seems very calm, albeit like his eyes are kind of wild. And Vincent is probably not the most uncommon thing to see. Like people who delve into certain sorceries, madness is not an uncommon side effect, right? So walk me through. What are we doing? You could tell me. So there's a couple things. We could role play it for sure, but also don't forget that it's really just about like mechanically, what abilities are you using? Like what do you tap it into? Like how you flavor that with role play. So Fortuna and Vincent.
I'll address that first, just real quick on the spend that we just got. I'm not going to do Forgotten Lore. I'm actually going to do Liar's Tell. Because I had spent a point in Liar's Tell, and that seems like the thing that I would want to refresh at this point. So quick bookkeeping there.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So which one of you takes the lead?
I'll start with maybe like social, trustworthy. Like Arkadiy can be trusted. His word is his.
Okay. And that doesn't necessarily make the guy whose eyes are wide, like his eyes go wider. It's because you basically just told him you can believe what it is. And he's like, did you take their gags off?
Not the sorcerers. The other guy's gag is out.
And so he's like, I don't know. I don't know nothing. I was just a muscle. I was just there to carry things. That's it. That's all it is. It's just a job. Just a job. That's all it is. Very sorry. Apologies all around. Just a job. And he's like babbling.
Dear friend. Oh, go right ahead, Vincent.
It's understandable. Even the muscle knows things.
I don't know much. I know very, very little. We were just supposed to grab the statue from the necropolis, and we were supposed to come here, and that one was going to do something fancy, and then we just take what it is we need, and we're out. That's it. That's all I know. There we go. That's the entirety of the. That's it. That's the whole thing. So,
dear friend, you were at the necropolis then. Were you also involved with killing the fake Bonaventure?
Didn't kill him. He voluntary, absolutely voluntary, completely voluntary. He chose to do it. He owed a debt. That's all it is.
Was it part of your crew?
Not mine. He was. I think he was in prison for a bit. Not one of mine though. Nope, not one of mine.
And who hired you to do this? I apologize, Fortuna.
The basic thing that you probably know. What is your name?
He's like, me? What do you, my name is Polio. You're gonna let me go if I answer, right? It's just like me or him, right?
Polio. What family?
You don't need to know the rest, do you?
A very basic bit of information that would be very helpful to us, actually.
Polio Mongerati. So, don't leave the family out of it. They don't know nothing about what I do.
As is sometimes the way, but thank you, cousin Arkadiy. Go right ahead.
And I'll say, Fortuna, you don't detect, like you said. Are you using Liar's Tell? You said, is that what you said you were tapping into here?
Yeah.
Haven't got a whiff of it from him yet. He genuinely seems like he's babbling, and he sees the threat in front of him. He understands the score, and he is just babbling to get it out. And again, the whole time, the sorcerer is just is not staring at you all, is staring at him. You can see that he is just like a little bit of blood dripping down. Doesn't seem to be at all phased.
So, dear Polio, who was it who hired you for this job?
One of us lives, right? That's how this is. If I say something to you, he dies, right? He dies? Okay. Well, we're part of I mean, it's the Canal Queen. You know, like we're her crew. You know, we're her people. We're her. You know, she sends us here, we send her there, and you know that's what we do. That's what it is. That's how it works.
So, is she the architect of this, or was her crew hired to do this by someone else?
That's above my pay grade. All I know is she says to go do something, and we do it. That's what you do. You don't say no to her, and I didn't say no. Right?
This is very important for your life.
Okay.
How is it that we can find her?
Well, you see, I gotta be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I'm being honest. I've never actually met her. I don't really know that. I know that some of them hang out at the Tarnished Coin, but like, not her. She's. They say she's very private. That's all. That's all I know.
Who do you report to it within the organization? Who is it that you report to?
Well, you kind of killed him down, and he like describes the guy who wounded you. He describes him. That was my lieutenant. So that's tough for him.
Yes, he cried when he died. Very sad.
Yeah, well, he deserved it. You were right to kill him. And Fortuna, you know, he's just like kissing ass now. He's just like that. He doesn't really seem to believe everything else up to this point. Seems like he's telling the truth.
So, what other lieutenants are there within the organization? You must know other lieutenants in the organization.
Oh well. So what ability is Arkadiy using here?
His charming good looks, and no, he's probably using, I would guess, vigilance, or perhaps spot frailty to try to see the chinks in this guy's emotional armor.
He definitely clams up. I don't really think those are interrogation tools, really.
No, they're not.
So
That's what I mean. I'm not a good talker.
Listen, I've answered your questions. Like, I can't tell you everything. If I tell you everything, then they're gonna kill me. And I told you enough so that you don't kill me. You kill him. And so it's like a compromise sort of situation, right? That's a compromise.
Sure. I must ask though, what does the Canal Queen have plans for the other families, or were we just the lucky target of?
I don't know her plans. I don't. All I know is she said to go to the Acropolis and get the statue, and then take it here, and then find the hidden places down there, and then this one do all his you know, what he does, and then that was that, and then we were gonna take the other things, and we gotta bring it back to. And then he like stops.
Where are you supposed to meet next?
Well, the guy, my boss, my lieutenant, he knew the place. And Fortuna, you know immediately, like, he's lying.
No. I'm not sure you want me to let my cousin here know, but I don't believe that. How about you try that again?
Okay. Well, there's over in the neighborhood in Giglio, there's Bellini's bottles. You know the place? They sell all the
Of course.
tonics and tinctures and things. And there's a warehouse behind it. We were supposed to meet up there with our contact, whoever that is. I don't know the contact. I don't know who we're delivering it to. And
when was the meet supposed to happen?
Immediately. I think you've probably wasted a bit too much time. If you wanted to catch him, I think it might be too late, begging your pardon.
So what were you doing what was the plan with the statue? How would you know that your time underground was done?
Well, that's this one's business. I don't know the rest of it.
What's your friend's name here? Should we say hi?
I mean, we just call him Rimbaldo. I don't even know if it's his name, but that's what we call him.
All right, Rimaldo. And I'll see if he speaks.
You take the gag
the handkerchief
out.
out of his mouth.
What ability is Vincent employing here?
I'll do felonious intent.
Felonious intent. Okay. He gives you a very wry smile, and then he looks at the one sitting across from him, and he says, "I'll tell you all. You kill that one right there, and I'll tell you what you want to know." And he just kind of gives you this really big grin, and his teeth are missing from when Fortuna, so it's just like this bloody gums and stuff. And Fortuna, he's telling the truth as far as you can tell. And then the guy you've been talking to, Pauline, is like, "Hey, no. I told you what I knew, and then when you said it was like a one of us kind of survives thing, I told you stuff. I told you what I knew. I was good. I didn't hurt no one, and that all that kind of thing. Not
Don't
really,
worry, Paul.
anyway.
We're not murderers.
Technically, I am. Professional murderer.
Technically. Rimbaldo's like, I ain't gonna tell any nothing until that one is dead. You make him so, and I'll tell you what you want to know. And he looks down at like all like the nails and stuff. He's like, but if you think that scares me, well then, I hate to break it to you. There are far worse things that I see every time I close my eyes. But, fortunately, very easy compromise, as Paulino says here. Just kill him, and I'll tell you what I know.
Fortuna looks to Arkadiy and just says, "All right, we're the ones that are not tied up, right? We are the ones that have the right. We are."
This is true, cousin. He is quite arrogant for his current position, but he makes an interesting point. Are you sure there is nothing else that you don't want to tell us to perhaps offset what he might be able to say? Who's got the best information?
You like the Paulino's. You can't trust him. He's no. He's a strange one. Look at him. And he's just like got this big grin, no teeth, blood coming down. He looks like a lunatic. But at the same time, Fortuna, when he says he'll tell you everything he knows, you don't get the sense that he's lying.
And Fortuna kind of moves behind what we think is Rimbaldo, and kind of looks to Arkadiy and Vincent, and kind of shrugs and nods in the way that kind of says like he means it.
Of course he means it. He's a lunatic. But we aren't gonna kill Paul here. He's told us everything.
That's right, I did. I told you everything. So.
But let us be completely honest. You invaded our home. You attacked my cousins. It is my job to protect our family.
But I was just following orders. I didn't know any of you at all. This is nothing personal. This is nothing personal at all. I was just doing my job.
I understand.
Yeah.
You know what my babushka told me? She said to me what my job was, my orders were?
No.
To hunt down the enemies of our family like cockroaches. Find each and every one of them and crush them in my hands. And then hunt down their nests and crush in my hands their families to make sure that no enemy of our family was bred further. But I am willing to set aside what my babushka has asked of me. We just need to know what you know. All of what you know.
And so, like, Pauline, the guy who's been completely open, like, I don't know that I told you everything I know. Like, and Fortuna, like, it does feel like he's told you everything he knows.
And Fortuna sort of looks to Vincent a little bit. Vincent, you are correct. Murdering is not a thing that we do.
No, it is. We definitely do that. Yes.
Arkadiy does, but
my entire career has been as an assassin for family. I murdered many, many people.
I do not. That is not what I do. That is not what we do here. And she's sort of generally pointing to, like, we're on our property at the moment. Like, this is, and she sort of puts the gag back in the sorcerer's mouth and kind of jerks her head.
So the two, you guys want to have an aside? Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have an aside. That's fine. Have your aside. What do you say?
They are both telling the truth. We don't.
Well, there is truth and then there is truth. The crazed sorcerer says he will tell us all that he knows, but what if he knows nothing beyond what has already been told us?
and what Arkadiy said to start, the one that tells us more, we kill the other. So why not just kill the sorcerer?
This is unpleasant business.
Yeah, this is why I usually tell other members of family to leave unpleasantness to me. If you wish, you may both find elsewhere to be for a moment. I will take care of the problem.
We'll let you do your job, Arkadiy.
He's good. Perhaps, Vincent, you might want to be prepared to chain or bind Sorcerer's ghost if possible, and perhaps we get information from him then.
I'll be in your shadow.
I will knock on the door when the deed is done.
And Fortuna kind of scowls a bit at this whole day. Has been an unpleasant day, and this is a wholly unpleasant end to this set of events. And she just sort of just has this scowl on her face as she sort of turns a heel and walks away.
Okay. So do we kill the sorcerer then, Vincent and Arkadiy? Is he just
Arkadiy walks in, walks behind the sorcerer, pulls out his long knife, slips it behind his collarbone, down through his shoulder and into his heart, and then back out.
Okay. And Paula's like, you made the right choice. You made the right choice. You made the right choice. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. Oh God. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And he's like very surprised.
Understand this, my friend. The investigators and watch will be here in the morning. You will explain to them that you were hired to do everything that you said you did.
You want me to tell the Inquisitors about what we did down there? You want the Inquisitors to know that?
No, what you did in the... Well, I take it back. It's very risky. So here's this. You now work for family. Our family.
Okay. Okay. I can get on board with that.
You may also work for Canal Queen. You may also work for Canal Queen. I understand the double agents. But when I come to you, and I will find you, if I ask questions of you, you will answer questions. Da?
Yeah. Da. Yeah. Da. Da. Very da. Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. All right, then. We seal it. The small bag of silver. So Arkadiy pulls out of that bag, puts it in his hand. He goes, now, I'm going to untie you.
Okay.
You're going to run away, and you're going to disappear into the slums somewhere for no fewer than a couple days. Then I'll come find you.
absolute very yeah. And he gets very excited, and he gets up, and he looks, and he just runs, and he just goes. He does exactly what you say he does. Fortuna, you see him like running into the dark and like disappearing into the night. He'll find his way off the grounds. No big deal. And he's gone. Okay. Okay then. So let's cut over to Solavita and Chauncey, who are drinking, collating, and reading in the library. Chauncey's favorite things. One of those things Chauncey likes.
Yep.
Okay.
Some of these books might even have pictures in them.
They do, in
Yes,
fact.
but you do need to read the words as well.
Of course, yeah.
So, in terms of, so I'll tell you this, like what you notice initially is they certainly seem to be a series of ledgers that seem to sort of be tracking things. It's hard to say, like at first glance, it's not sure exactly what, but it almost seems like scientific study, like it's tracking changes in observations and numbers and such. But there's also a lot of journals where it looks like in this long kind of looping form handwriting of somebody kind of taking notes. And it definitely, just at first glance, it definitely seems like it's almost scientific in how it's collected. Like there's all sorts of, it's like research, like it's experimentation, documentation of things that were done, that kind of stuff. So,
I think this might be experimentation of people.
Hey, want to make an omelet?
Uh-oh.
I thought this was magic. It didn't sound so much like.
Well, this is the age of assassins, and there was a lot of magic, and not all magic is very good. Actually, most of it is pretty bad.
Okay. So then tell me what it is, like what, as you're going through these things, what investigative ability are you putting to work as you're like sifting through these various documents? And that'll give you some potentially more information. And then there's potential for some spends and such to get even more information. So kind of up to you all. Let's see. Things that would be very good, obviously, is Forgotten Lore, but that's not the only thing that would necessarily work. You can look at things like laws and traditions could probably come up into play on this one. I would say Felonious Intent.
I've actually got a good one. My allegiance, my enemy is the Sorcerer Cabal. Would that count?
So that would count, but it would be flavored as you taking this, like that, taking this to them, sharing this with them, and sort of like you're calling upon them for aid.
Fair enough. No, definitely. That would not.
It would definitely work. It was just you would be basically revealing these secrets to them. So
yes.
And obviously, Jeremy, your ridiculous luck could always work too.
I think for Chauncey, he's either looking for something that has cool pictures, or in his mind, he's looking for how to, like, not that he would ever like try to mimic somebody else's signature, but he's looking to see if he could mimic somebody's signature here. And maybe he's looking to see like certain entries, like you see a little bit more of a flourish to the signature, like, oh, they were excited by this finding. It's not so much that he's actually paying attention to the details. It's more like that scene from The Wire where the one kid figures out the math problem. He's like, the dots. The teacher kept putting dots on the board next to this. Chauncey figures it out more because he's seeing where they're excited with their notes.
Okay.
Oh, jeez. That's so good.
Do you want to make a spend of ridiculous luck?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I took that back, because I knew I was going to immediately spend it on the dumbest place possible.
As you're reading through it. So I'm going to start with that, and then you can, and there's plenty here, by the way. So this isn't like all of it. So there's plenty here to sift through if you want to make spends and such. So Chauncey, you initially said you were looking for pictures. Mm-hmm. One of the pictures you find is a picture of the altar that you saw in that room filled with faces. And so you see it beautifully sketched and drawn, almost like an engineering schematic, like something you might see from the architects, and the Canal Watchers and such. So it has that kind of look to it, almost like it's a plan, like a schematic for it. You see other pictures that are drawing out the designs that you saw on some of the pedestals and some of the mosaics. And so you're seeing a lot of these things here and their sort of gestation process and some of these. And you notice that with the altar specifically, there's a little bit of that kind of excitement as you catch a journal entry. It's maybe stray, and it allows you to kind of group a few things together where the altar was built. Whereas the first time you see it was just sort of, design. And it looks as though they were they were excited because it allowed them to more efficiently make offerings to the matron of the swamps, which is a name that you all have now, a title that you all have heard before. And because you made a spend, you also notice that there is a very rambling, philosophical, and theological series of pages that maybe you gloss over because it's just so academically stuffy for a while. But you read about how Borda was the betrayed sister. Like that was like another one of her titles. Matron of the Swamps, the betrayed sister. There was a great betrayal by the Denari in that, according to these philosophical and theological ramblings, whoever wrote this believed that Denari had enslaved and ensorcelled the fools of Eversink with coin and with commerce. And although those are more comfortable tools, they are no different than manacles and whips and shackles. And so the person writing this was under the impression that they were doing good works and that Borda was the slighted but the betrayed sister, and that with every offering they strengthened Borda's power, which had been sapped in some way by some great betrayal. And if they could strengthen Borda enough, then she would be able to come back and break the shackles that her sister had placed upon the city. And that seems to be like the basic thesis of this ridiculously long theological rant that you go through.
Oh, I think it's right. I mean, you could probably.
Oh, it looks like your brain is working.
No, this is great. It started off so boring. This
No,
blah,
it's
blah,
great
blah.
stuff.
This 3 slaves today, blah, blah, blah. 3 merchants we kidnapped today, blah, 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 blah. But look at this. And then they're doing
a
the
little
sacrifices.
paraphrasy.
And, this one believes it. He really believes it. Like, I've never lied to myself to, believe what I was doing is right, but maybe I haven't. This person's totally doing that. They really believe it. It's amazing.
Well, okay. What if they, instead of convincing themselves, if they're full-on zealot for Borda, they truly, it's not a convincing thing, it's a true belief thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's worse, but better, I think.
It's so scary.
Oh, yeah.
Terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
It was so much easier being an
Mm.
orphan. I have to say, although the wine's very good. You have such better wine.
You can thank Henrietta is good at finding the good bottles. I know she's asleep, but she usually keeps them in good places. So you know where to look, you can get the good wine.
Solavita, as Chauncey shows you and tries to summarize, and he's hitting the big marks, right? But there are many pages, and it's interesting how
entire
yeah.
I'm going to reread everything, just so you know.
One of the things that you catch, I'll say, just from looking at what he's pulled out, no spend required, is that according to these rants, the family, your family, all of your families, the origin of your lines made some kind of blood pact with this deity, this sister of Denari, and
maybe we don't tell Fortuna.
And it's interesting that you bring that up as you say that out loud, Solavita, because as you continue to read, you realize that one of the things that this blood pact seems to have done, and what this theologian, this philosopher suggests is the cause of, all of the matriarchs in your family live very long lives. They The head of the family always lives extended lives. Eliana IV has outlived her brothers and sisters by 25 years, has her last husband by 30, and even her eldest son. She is of very advanced age, and every matriarch of the family, as far as I remember, has always lived quite long. You have like portraits on these walls of them at very advanced age, and this entry suggests that it is because of this blood pact that has allowed the leaders, the heads of the family, the matriarch of the family, to have such a lengthy life to ensure that they do Borda's work.
Well, that's going to be interesting. Chauncey, maybe I'm going to drink a little bit of wine now as well, because honestly, this is a lot. Maybe we sit on it for a little before we tell Fortuna.
I intend to do my best to forget this entire night.
Oh, great. Well, you can have the other bottles of wine. I know. I don't mind.
This is why you're my favorite cousin.
I know. Yes, that, and I keep you in a place that doesn't involve immediate murder of people sometimes.
Yes.
So, Jeff,
yes.
Can I use, because you're proposing these are kind of a scientific document, can I then actually apply leechcraft to it as view
absolutely.
From a full-on study, like research study of the science and biology of it?
Do you want to make a spend on that?
Yes, I will make a spend.
Okay. I'll say what you were going through maybe before you were interrupted by Chauncey is documentation that was talking about literally what is regularly kind of colloquially at first, but eventually kind of became the title. The silent cells is what they called it. And that seemed to be this prison area, right? And it was a site of some kind of researched experimentation by members of the Mainwallen family for generations. And you see all sorts of names in your line, men, women, all throughout. Like you can see them popping up left and right, initials, sometimes the full length, the full name. And you come across some alchemical notes, some alchemical and sorceress experiments. Like you're probably the best person to sort of sift through it. And it looked as though they were looking for trying to enhance their existing spheres of power and also try to discover new spheres of power. They were particularly doing tests on, it started with creatures like animals, foxes, serpents, lizards, eventually became humans. And then you notice two other words that stand out to you, Solavita. Chugat. You see that comes up quite often, is used in the testing notes. Sometimes it's referred to as a subject, sometimes as an offering, sometimes as an assistant. But it seems to refer to some kind of creature or species. I would say, given your background, you would probably know that they are kind of a rumored kind of swamp folk that are in are rumored to still live there, but like in the far reaches. They're reclusive, extremely hostile to humans, hate everyone and ever sink, and so no one really ventures there. They just say, you stay in your tiny little quarter and we'll never talk about it. And then you see serpent folk and Serpentine, and it refers to them as dangerous but knowledgeable partners in the great endeavor. Okay. And it seems to, as it like digs into it, like there's experiments involving draining blood from victims. There's experiments with invoking various spirits, including serpentine spirits, which are known to be very volatile as well. So you are kind of reading through their processes, their practices, all the things that they have experimented upon, and you kind of have a general idea that they were doing absolutely awful things. But they also seem to have been able to find ways to enhance their power along the way.
Would I be able to get a sense of like the last name on the list in terms of when, because clearly it hadn't been touched, that underground area, for a while.
That's
like
an excellent
when the
question.
last kind of generation was.
There is one more spend where you can get information left in like, and then you guys would essentially exhaust all the information I have to give you from this. I will take another point. If you want to do Leechcraft, I'll give
secrets?
it. City Secrets would be great. Give me that.
Oh, I have City Secrets. I'm happy to spend it in City Secrets. Spend.
I think that's great.
Done.
Okay. I actually think that's going to play out. One of the things that you catch, and this is all taking hours, by the way. Maybe Chauncey is snoring every now and then. But this is all taking hours.
Are you sure? 3 bottles of wine and then you're passed out? Oh, okay. No, read the next book.
Next,
Just
still,
nope.
still
He
pussing with venom.
but he didn't eat me.
Well, you did kiss a snake and you kind of liked it. It seems to be a thing.
I mean, nobody's going to believe me, but I'm going to talk about that forever.
Well, it'll be a good pub story.
Zolavita, you are looking for like most recent activity and everything's a mess, and you can tell that there's chunks missing, and it's likely whatever it is that one intruder escaped with. But you do manage to find some notes and some journal entries suggesting that there really hasn't been activity in the area in this place since around the time of the Putrid Tide. And as you start to kind of dig into the entries that seem to correspond with that era of your family's history, you notice that there was definitely a shift in focus in what they were doing. There definitely seemed to be a movement at some point. There's a gap, obviously, so you don't know exactly how this transition happened, where they started to kind of sell weapons that were imbued with some kind of terrible sorcery. And they were like hiding it on cargo that they sent to other places in the world. But you also notice that there's a ledger that suggests that many of the weapons were set aside for use by, and this maybe raises an eyebrow, G. Pulzetti and her rebels, as per our agreement. And once more, the enemy of our enemy is our friend, it says. All of you, considering your family history, would know the name Georgiana Pulzetti, who is often credited as being the leader of the Putrid Tide Rebellion. And her execution is largely marked as the end of that rebellion. She was and this is where your city secrets would come to play. She was a canal watcher. She kept the canal safe for commoners and nobles alike. Everyone seemed to respect her. And the belief is that she used her knowledge of the city, the secret paths, the secret canals to kind of move her people around as they were creating this rebellion at some point. And since you've already spent on something else, one of the things you would learn is that those weapons, every soul that was killed with them, would power Borda.
Oh, yeah, great. Yeah.
Oh, my.
I'm going to... okay, Chauncey... No, you're passed out. Awake? You want to help me write a summary? Yay! Research?
Yes. Why, stabbing is bad.
Well, that's
Because
true.
you feed the swamp lady when you stab.
Yes, we do. Okay,
Chauncey,
I will...
as Chauncey gets up, you see stuck to his head from where he was sleeping, there is another piece of paper. And you can see that there's like a couple lines on it. Ridiculous luck and play. And it has the name Pulzetti. And it's just a quick line. It doesn't even look like a page. It looks more like a note, like a message sent to somebody else. It says, Pulzetti is overreached. She has sent thieves and spies into our midst. Once more, we are betrayed.
Okay, so this is why we switched teams again. All right. I will add that to the notes.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Chauncey. You're great help here. You can go back to sleep if you'd like.
It's as I always tell Arkadiy, sometimes you just need proper supervision.
Yeah, that's definitely it. And Solavita will sort of try to write out sort of the important parts in a sort of like a bullet point list for the family.
Sure.
And she will bring up the fact that the sort of the crone will live longer because of this blood pact. So Fortuna will find out about that. she's also going to have, like, she'll open maybe her grandmother's diary to maybe a page in the back that's still a bit blank. And she will take a note of any sort of successful alchemical mixtures that may have been written down.
Absolutely, for sure. Okay, I'm going to say that between those two scenes, I'm going to put 3 refresh tokens in because you spent 3 and you got 3 big pieces from this and then 2 from the other. So 5 total refresh tokens if you guys wanted to spend them on general ability. So that should be 1 for each of you or however you want to spend it. But I'll say between the interrogation and between this reading, the sun has risen. The night is over. The next day has come. Now, while the sun has risen, you are a noble family. So like most of your people are still sleeping, but the sun has come. The next day is here. So I will say scenes have ended at this point. So we've closed those 2 down. We have a few minutes left. So is there any lingering business that you all wanted to do before we kind of close it down for tonight?
Just a quick kind of doing a little tracking. I will do some bind wounds on Vincent. So I'm spending 3 bind wounds to get him back up in the positive.
Nice.
Okay.
I would say that Fortuna, having left Arkadiy and Vincent to things that she doesn't want to think about right now, she would probably make her way over to Chauncey and Solavita and see if Chauncey needs any wound binding.
I mean,
Arkadiy's also at 0, by the way.
Yeah.
Aaron, just to double check, I spent 3 bind wounds that should have given you 6 HP. I think I may have said 3 for 3, but it's actually double.
Okay.
So you might actually have more than
3,
you
I
think.
think, or something. Yeah, you're probably
Yeah,
right.
it's
Then I'm
2.
good.
Yeah,
It's
it's 1 for 1
I was
on
doing
yourself.
it quick and I didn't double check.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yep.
I'm good then.
Unless you have the talent, all right? Doesn't the talent for Leechcraft allow you to get the same? Am I misremembering?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Only thing Arkadiy would do during the night is obviously strip the sorcerer's body, check it for anything of interest, mutilate his corpse enough that it's not recognizable, and then dispose of the body.
The only thing you would note of interest is that it had the same marking, that same kind of brand that you saw on Carlo Moretti's body from the necropolis that you were to identify as like kind of a prison tat, so to speak, that corresponded with the Canal Queen. So it kind of tracks. That's really the only thing that would kind of catch you. Okay. Anything else that you guys would do?
So Fortuna will go over
hours.
to Chauncey and see if he needs any healing.
I mean, there's the puncture marks. It's not too bad. Didn't really rip anything so much. Just as I've properly flushed away the toxins.
Do you think that one toxin cancels out the next toxin? If you drink enough wine, it will take care of the one already there?
I once heard a barber surgeon say cure like with like. So, science.
Oh, okay. And so she'll, while you're just sort of like drunkenly sort of like lolling in one direction, she'll kind of I'll do 1 bind wounds to get you back 2. Will that get you in a better place?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay.
Thank you. That's why you're my favorite auntie.
Yes. She is very, she's okay. Fortuna, have you noticed that our loving crone is ancient as shit?
That is what we all aspire to be, of course. It helps the stability of our family that the matriarch lives long.
Yeah, but like really long. Like if you sit down and think about it, she was old when you were young, and she's still old and there.
I don't know what you are implying.
If my math is correct, anyway. I know you're like way up there, but
Fortuna's like 50.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm just being Solovita's just being a dick. She knows. Okay, well, look.
Yes, young.
This might be because our family has blood binding pact with the lovely Porta.
This
for
is
longevity.
I just
Get a little
nothing
fussy in
wrong
here.
I wrote, it's a little bit like a summary. I did the bullet points. I've read through most of these. I might go pass out for a little while. I don't really want to talk to the church people anyway.
I thought I was leaving the bad news from our cousins in that direction to come over here to some saneness, and this is what you bring me.
Well, we
niece.
also definitely want to hide the fact that we had the Palezi, we sold her weapons that would help power Borda, and then we also then found that she was sending spies, so we decided to turn against her with the Putrid Rebellion. So yeah, there's that too. There's more. That's more normal. That's more normal noble politics. You like normal politics, yes?
You have given me too many things all at once, niece.
Yeah, sorry. I've been reading and awake, and I've had like this whole bottle of wine now. Yeah.
Yes, we have one fewer guests than we had hours ago.
Arkadiy got them. All right. Well, that's why we come and hide in the library.
This is where I
There's
should have
another
come
fox.
first. I'm sorry, cousin. Okay. Well, let's get you both settled for the night.
Okay. So we will say then, for the sake of some level of realism, that you all have been up for a very long time.
Mhm.
Yes.
You get some rest through the early morning hours, maybe into the early afternoon. Maybe for the sake of simplicity, or I know some of you don't live here, but the place is huge, big enough that there are rooms to take if necessary. And we'll say that at some point in the afternoon, when you all finally wake, and you're going about your business, getting ready to go run whatever errands that you're looking to run, research that you're looking to do, whatever it might be. We'll say that you guys are in that dining area once more, and we see your favorite, Althavira Mainwallen, come into the room. And she is like looking at all of you, and you can see that if her eyes could be literal daggers, they would be. And she has like a piece of paper in her hand, like you could tell it's like someone, like a messenger slip. And she looks at, well, you all have done it, haven't you? You all have just done it, haven't you? The Inquisitor isn't even coming. Oh, and we thought, what a wonderful news that is. They're not coming. No investigation. Well, I'll have you know. And she has this this slip. It's this tiny little slip, and she smacks it down right in front of Fortuna. And
yes, what news is this? What tidings?
Well, my sources say that the Bonaventures, and you can see that she throws up a little bit in her throat as she says the name. Well, they are having some sort of very important dinner party tonight. The Canocchios are going to be here. I'll be there. Father Torre, he is going to be there. Members of the Church of Denari. The very Inquisitor that was supposed to come to our estate this morning to speak with us so that we can clear this trouble up. They called off our appointments, and instead they are meeting. My source within the Bonaventure family, and she looks very proud of herself for saying that, says that apparently they have some sort of evidence against us that we have committed some additional crimes. And she is, again, staring daggers at Fortuna.
Mm-hmm.
This is your mess, Fortuna. This is your mess. And like her finger is like wagging, and you can tell she's
like
an older
inches
woman.
from my face.
Yeah, right in your face.
Yeah.
You and your cronies, you are not going to be the death of this family. Do you hear me? You're going to fix this.
But of course we will fix this.
Well,
Why is she still talking?
Likely the Inquisitor's gone over there because the dreadful Bonaventure Matteo, why, he ruined 3 statues yesterday, and everybody saw it. horrible thing.
They did. Yes, they did. But as I explained to everyone last night, Chauncey, the blame has been spread, and apparently we did not donate enough to account for the repairs. So, it is not just the bad will that we get from being murderers, apparently, but now some other crime which I'm sure some of you know about.
And she's, again, now her finger is like wildly wagging in all of your directions. And so,
Well, if my math is correct, and it usually is, great aunt, I just making older as I talk. It seems like the Canal Queen, who did steal documents from us last night, by the way, around our activities around the putrid tide, by the way, which you should
What
know
on
about.
earth are you? What does that have to do with this?
Well,
Ugh.
that means that the Bonaventures, and I also threw up a little in my mouth for that, was working with the Canal Queen. We can agree on the Bonaventures, at least.
Ah! I don't care what little fantasy stories you have in your books. You're going to fix this. Yes? Yes?
Yes, we said we are going to fix this. Do not bother your mind with the details. We will address the Canal Queen and all other details.
Canal Queen? What? And she, again, every time you mention it, she's just, and then she like smoothes her clothes. She fixes her wig, which is a little askance. Fine.
A little bit more to the right.
You're an inspiration, darling. I wish I had half your energy.
She looks at you and she's like,
Well, thank you, Chauncey. That is very kind of you. Now, I must go for my morning stroll. I know it's the afternoon, but it's been a very busy morning.
and she gets up and you see her just sort of stomp out of the dining hall, leaving you all there, and we'll end there for tonight. We'll pick up on that next week.
I like
Okay. She's great.
Well, she's not bad. A lot of spitfire, but her choice to be ignorant is going to hurt the family if she becomes the crone.
Or maybe it'll be okay because now that you know, she's the one doing the blood pact for two.
That's true too.
We'll have to think of what exactly the blood pact looks like. I'm very curious. Like,
Right?
do you have to like drink some of your great grandmother's blood in order to be on the next matriarch? Maybe you just got.
Probably.
I think so.
No,
strain.
More likely, you've got to shave some of her bone off from her and grind it up and drink it like a tea.
Yeah, it's got to get really nasty. It's definitely. I think we're on the same page. I'm glad we're on the same page with that.
Yeah.
All right.
How dare
That's
you
it.
tracing back to your roots?
It's literally. Yeah, it's almost like you get into the bone so you can see the age rings on the inside of the bone.
And you
It's all
don't use
coming together.
you don't use pure water. You use swamp water, and you brew the tea in swamp
Absolutely.
water.
Oh, I can't wait for this scene when Fortuna has to down that. She has to just do a quick shot.
Fantastic.
All
Thanks,
right.
everybody. Thanks
Yeah,
so
no worries.
much.
Hey.
I'm so glad we
Hey.
all workshopped this.
You get to be the matriarch. It's great. All right, let's do some close-up plugs. Then we're going to get on out of here. So, Aaron, what we got going on over at Garbo these days?
So next Tuesday, go to Garblag Games YouTube channel, and Pete will be streaming some Electric State. That'll be at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. On Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Stu will be actually starting the Judge Dredd campaign. Did character creation this week. And then on Thursday, back in the driver's seat with a bunch of dwarfs headed to Moria in the One Ring.
Awesome. Fantastic. Okay. Then as for us, let me start by saying our buddy Steven has made a game called Huckleberry RPG. I don't know why I said it like that. If you want to learn more about it, go to huckleberryrpg.com. Update dropping very soon. He even told me that there's an update dropping on Tuesday with a new adventure written by this guy. So keep an eye on that. It's going to be popping up on a drive-through if you want to see the nonsense that I wrote for Steven. You can check out drive-through and get that on Tuesday. As for streams, tomorrow night, speaking of Steven, we're starting up our Magnus Archives for the Cypher System. We're doing a session 0, making our characters, making our archivists. Saturday, you can see a bunch of us here playing through some Call of Cthulhu. We're doing our Eternal Lies campaign. We're back in Arkham. Bangkok was very dangerous. Lo and behold, so was Arkham. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that Arkham was dangerous? Then Monday, Otherscape, our Mythos Cyberpunk. And then Tuesday, Kipser, what are we doing?
We are going to do character creation, the start of the campaign for Perils and Princesses. My book is over there, so I can't show it today.
Fair enough. But that's it for us. Thank you for everyone who were watching live. Thank you for those of you who are listening or watching to this later. We got links in the descriptions and stuff like that to various places. So definitely go check everybody out. We are going to raid Blackwater D&D because they're playing Triangle Agency, and that's a game that's been kind of on my radar for a bit. I know it's been on Kipser's radar too. So follow the raid. Have a great rest of your night. See y'all later. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Arrivederci.